To say that Fali Nariman was a doyen of the legal fraternity would be understating the impact that he had on the country. His impact was felt far beyond the courtroom and in the lives of everyday men and women. The country woke up to the sad news of his demise at the age of 95, that the President, the Prime Minister, the CJI, tallest leaders from the opposition parties and brightest legal luminaries paid homage, gives us some sense of scale on the lives and issues that he touched. So let's take a look at some of his most important cases and how that has shaped the modern India that we know today. First, the case of Nanda Bharti case. While he did not directly argue, he assisted another legal legend, Nanabhai Palkiwala, in this case. It was his efforts that led to the courts laying down the basic structure doctrine. This doctrine says that the parliament does not have unlimited power and that it cannot alter the democratic nature of the country based on fundamental rights and liberties. Number two, this was not really a single case, but rather a series of 3 cases spanning almost 2 decades. The first, the second and the third judge's case. Fali Nariman was instrumental in assisting the court in these matters. They are hugely relevant because it is through these matters, these judgments, that we arrived at today's collegium system of judicial appointments, where top 5 Supreme Court judges select and appoint judges. Third, the Golaknath case. This was among the first cases where the Supreme Court ruled clarifying on the primacy of fundamental rights. The court held that fundamental rights are protected against arbitrary state action. Number 4, the RTI Act. Now, the RTI Act faced several legal challenges, and particularly 2, one in 2005, the other in 2012, and on both occasions he argued in defense of the constitutionality of the RTI Act. And on both occasions, his arguments on transparency yielded 2 judgments where the Supreme Court upheld the RTI Act's constitutionality. And finally, number 5, the Nebam Rabia case. With growing instances of conflict and friction between elected chief ministers and governors, this case was critical in defining the limits of the governor's powers. After Fali Nariman's arguments, the top court held that the governor's actions, like advancing an assembly session, could only be done on the aid and advice of the Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. And these are just his contributions as a lawyer. I need a lot more time explaining how he was as a person and the full impact of his public life. In a private conversation with me, a senior advocate remarked, "They don't make him like him anymore."